Prince and the Revolution Parade. I'm sorry. That's it.
He came to me. I didn't even have the nerve to call him and say, like, he came to me and said, I know what you're doing. I'm going to give you all of my work.
Tidal was standing alone as the only streamer to have access to the icon's music. The Prince estate is now suing Jay-Z's Roc Nation for copyright and
people online are buzzing like never before because this new rumor about DAngelo has everyone losing their minds. Folks are out here claiming they've got so-called receipts, saying DAngelo straight up blamed Jay-Z for Prince's tragic passing, and the internet is running wild with it. According to these online claims, DAngelo supposedly told some of his own relatives that Jay-Z tried to take advantage of Prince by pushing him to hand over control of his music to Tidal. People are repeating it like it's confirmed, even though none of this has ever been proven, which makes the whole thing even more chaotic. Now here's the part that is real. Prince's estate actually filed a lawsuit against Roc Nation years ago, connected to disagreements over streaming rights on Tidal. And even though that lawsuit was public, the whole situation faded from the spotlight fast, which is why these rumors are suddenly getting new attention and causing a whole new wave of drama. But the big question floating around is this: is there any truth behind these new claims people are spreading about DAngelo? Or are folks online twisting stories to stir up more noise between two major music legends? People want to know what DAngelo supposedly heard that made him worried about Prince, and why he would bring up Jay-Z specifically, even in private conversations. Some rumor-spreading accounts are even saying DAngelo felt Prince was being pressured in ways that didn't sit right with him. But again, none of this has been backed up with real proof, which makes the whole situation even more mysterious. Now the internet is demanding answers, and everyone wants to know what DAngelo actually said, what's real, what's exaggerated, and what might be totally misunderstood. The story just keeps getting louder by the minute.
Music business runs like this. You'll have a manager, you'll have an attorney, you'll have various record company people. Everybody's taking a cut of everything that you do. So when you're in the fold, when you're in the club and everybody's getting a piece of everything, your tour, your publishing, any endorsements, and when they're getting a piece of all of that, you will have hit records. The moment you step away from that and you want to, in fact, take control of your own life, your own experience, then you'll find you're not hot anymore.
For years, people have been giving the music industry a serious side-eye because the pattern looks wild to them. Fans keep connecting dots between the sudden losses of legends like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince, and others, especially since so many of these artists weren't scared to call out major labels right to their faces. But Prince wasn't just talking about label control. He was out here taking bold, rare steps to break free from it. He was barely 18 when he signed his first deal with Warner Music, stepping into the game with a talent level most artists never reach, even after a lifetime of work. And once Purple Rain dropped in 1984, everything changed overnight. That massive success gave him a whole new level of power, and Prince wasted no time using it. He wanted full ownership, full freedom, full control, no label micromanaging his every move. By 1985, he launched his own label, Paisley Park Records, and for the next 8 albums, he went on an unbelievable run, dropping creative and commercial hits back to back like it was nothing. But as the early 90s rolled through, the cracks started to show between him and Warner Music, and it got tense fast. By 1993, the situation exploded into the public eye, with Prince and the label fighting over money, ownership, and who actually had the final say. And instead of staying silent, Prince took the whole conflict to the streets, literally. He began showing up in public with "slave" written across his face, sending a direct message to Warner about how trapped he felt under their contract. The whole industry froze because no superstar had ever done something that bold before. And then he made the move that shook everyone even harder. He stopped using his own name and switched to that legendary symbol. Fans didn't know what to call him, so they said the symbol, the squiggle, or the artist formerly known as Prince. And every bit of it was intentional, disruptive, and meant to expose how far he was willing to go to fight for his freedom.
I had searched deep within my heart and spirit, and I wanted to make a change and move to a new plateau in my life. And one of the ways in which I did that was to change my name. It sort of divorced me from the past and all the hang-ups that go along with it.
Prince later explained that Warner Brothers took the name, trademarked it, and then used it as the main marketing tool to promote all the music that I wrote. He said the company controlled the Prince name so tightly that he felt like he had been reduced to a pawn in their system, a worker generating money for them instead of an artist owning his own legacy. And around the same time, while Prince was fighting his battle with Warner, George Michael was all the way in the UK dealing with his own storm with Sony. He didn't hold anything back, then he openly called his contract professional slavery, which sent shockwaves across the industry because suddenly two major stars were calling out the business from opposite sides of the world. To really understand how deep Prince's frustration went, you have to hear how he described what was happening behind the scenes.
It became such a big deal back then is ever since my third album, I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work, I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise, and they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave, I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist.
This is exactly the kind of pressure that pushed Prince to take drastic measures within the industry. Even with all the noise he created, Warner's contract still had him locked down tight, so he fought back by dropping album after album, trying to fulfill every requirement and break free as fast as he could. He said, "They are what they are, and I am what I am." And he made it clear that the deeper he went into that system, the darker everything felt for him. Things eventually got so tense that Warner shut down distribution for Paisley Park entirely, forcing Prince to rebuild his whole operation from scratch. And while all this tension was rising, Prince was also reflecting on the bigger picture and the way the system shaped the entire industry.
And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer. They're going to be indeed a delivery service, and that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship, right? Because ultimately it keeps us apart, and it keeps the people in power in charge of us. So ultimately, we're going to have to learn how to be together and become one people. What I've been doing recently is studying the scriptures as deep as I can, so that that's what gives me the optimism. And I would advise anybody, if you want to feel like there's some hope in this joint, pick up the book and read it and get somebody to actually show you what's going on in it, because it's a real thing.
Even as he built NPG Records from the ground up and secured a deal with EMI that finally let him release music on his own terms, Prince didn't slow down for a second. He kept calling out major labels, telling the world they were outdated, unnecessary, and no longer serving the people they claimed to support. And later, he made an even stronger point about how younger artists often didn't understand the fight he was describing.
You don't hear a lot of young people talking about things like I talk about, because they really haven't lived. They haven't gone through a lot of experiences yet, and we can't really expect them to. It's just not all a party, alcoholism and promiscuity. Get some elders up in here. Let's talk about all this. Distribution service. What do we really need record companies for? Really.
And with that kind of mindset, Prince moved through the industry like a true free agent. He flowed between Columbia, Universal, Arista, even looping back to Warner when it worked for him. Always on his own terms and never bowing to anyone else's expectations. He pushed artists to protect their independence, stay sharp, and understand their rights. And every time he spoke up, the industry reacted, because Prince wasn't quietly dropping hints. He was firing off warnings that could shake the entire structure of the business.
Not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves. There's nothing minor about you.
At one point, Prince got so exhausted with the whole music industry circus that he flat out said he wished he had chosen a completely different career path. He told the LA Times, "If I knew the things I know now before, I wouldn't be in the music industry." And that statement alone had people stunned, because it showed how deep his frustration ran. Then came that viral Rolling Stone interview where Prince didn't hold anything back at all. He said, "If I can't do what I want to do, what am I? When you stop a man from dreaming, he becomes a slave." That's where I was. I don't own Prince's music. If you don't own your masters, your master owns you. His message was sharp, emotional, and sent a real warning to every artist paying attention. By 2007, Prince pushed even harder and announced he was gearing up to take legal action against YouTube, eBay, and even Pirate Bay for using his songs without permission. Around that same moment, he pulled his music off every platform except Jay-Z's Tidal and gave Tidal exclusive rights to stream his album Hit and Run, which sent fans into a frenzy trying to figure out what his endgame was. But the situation got messy after Prince passed in 2016, when his estate filed a federal lawsuit claiming Tidal streamed his whole catalog, even though he had only approved one album for a limited time. And despite the confusion, Jay-Z still dropped a line on All the Way Up, saying, "Prince left his masters where they safe and sound. We never gonna let the elevator take him down," which had everybody debating what was really going on. What made things even more chilling was the timing. Prince passed almost exactly 2 years after finally getting his masters back from Warner on April 18, 2014. Then on April 21, 2016, he was found in an elevator at Paisley Park, a detail that shocked the world because the dates lined up in a way nobody could ignore. His passing was officially ruled an accidental overdose, with reports saying he believed he was taking Vicodin for pain, but the pills were fake and laced with fentanyl, meaning he had no idea something deadly was hidden inside them.
Hours after announcing a decision not to file charges in Prince's death, authorities released documents and video of his last days. Among the evidence, pictures from Paisley Park on the day Prince died, showing pills and a Bayer bottle authorities say contained the deadly counterfeit Vicodin.
Unfortunately, the subject counterfeit Vicodin pills are an exact imitation of real Vicodin pills, but the counterfeit pills contain the potentially deadly opioid fentanyl.
Just like what happened after Michael Jackson passed, Prince's death set off a wave of doubt that still hasn't quieted down. A lot of fans weren't convinced by the accidental overdose explanation, and people started questioning whether those fentanyl-laced pills were really a mistake or if somebody slipped them to him on purpose. Even some well-known figures in the industry raised eyebrows at the official story. Kanye once hinted that both Michael and Prince were actually kicked, saying he barely avoided the same situation himself. He even posted a picture of Prince with "Slave" written across his face and captioned it, "Let's get it big, bro. You and Michael pass so we can live," which had the internet spinning nonstop. Now there are new reports floating around claiming DAngelo himself had doubts about the official version of Prince's death. One insider, who claims they spoke with DAngelo's relatives, says DAngelo believed Jay-Z might have been tied to the situation somehow. But again, none of this is confirmed, and we can't say these messages truly came from his family. Everything here is rumor talk, not proven facts. Still, knowing how boldly Prince challenged the music industry and how he called for the breakdown of major labels, it makes sense why so many people started whispering about foul play. The timing, the battle for his masters, the pressures he talked about, it all created a storm where rumors could spread fast, especially among fans trying to make sense of everything. So now people are asking real questions. Was Prince's passing truly a tragic accident, or is there something deeper here? What do you think about Jay-Z's connection to Tidal and those verses about Prince's masters? And with the timing around his catalog, the fake pills, and all the industry drama, does it make you rethink the official report? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next.